This is not fickle. I gave my reason.
Damn.
But calm down, people.
But I
Calm down.
understand. I get
Calm
your
down.
point of view.
Calm down.
I get your point of view, but you're on fickle watch. Just
Shush.
letting you know.
Shush, please.
Yep, it was that time of the year again. It seems like it's that time of the year every year where the WWE starts to make serious roster cuts. And this year is no different. We have experienced Black Thursday, the day where the WWE cleaned out their roster. And man, some big names have been let go by the company. That is why we are going to be making this video. That is what we're going to be talking about today. What is going to happen to the names that have been cut? Mainly the superstars who we looked at and thought, damn, what a shame. What a shame. Namely, Dolph Ziggler, Riddle, Shelton, Dana. There's a whole list of superstars that we could talk about from this year's roster cut, but I've got the boys with me, Mr. WrestleDrop, Mr. MPKH. We're going to dissect the future of these wrestlers and the current state of the company. So, gentlemen, let me hear from you. I'd say Dolph Ziggler, I'd say Riddle, but who was the most shocking cuts for each of you? Let's start with Mr. WrestleDrop.
I'd say the most shocking cut was probably Matt Riddle. Because I think Dolph hasn't been seen on TV for a very long time. And there was already rumors that he was leaving before the cuts happened. Like in the week before the cuts, there was rumors that he had already left actually. So, not sure what actually happened there. So I was kind of half expecting it. But Riddle, he wasn't on Raw because of a medical issue. And then he was cut a day later after everyone else. So I'm not sure. Maybe he pissed off WWE. He's pissed off UFC before. They merged. Maybe they were like, let's just cut off any potential issues here. And that's what they did.
Mr. MPKH.
Yeah, the release that I was more shocked with was Mustafa Ali and Matt Riddle for obvious reasons. Now, in the case of Ali, like this weekend, he was supposed to go up against Dom Mysterio for the NXT North American title and supposed to win that match. But no,
Dom's winning, bro. Dom was winning regardless. Dom was winning, but anyway, he is the GOAT. He is the North American champion. He's not letting go of that title. Anyway, carry on. Until he faces Dragon Lee tonight. But anyway, sorry, carry on.
We got a bunch of dumb heads here, y'all. So yeah, like I was saying, and also his NXT run, it looked pretty solid for the most part, and I just don't know. I just don't know why WWE wanted to release him now, even though he asked for it like 2-3 years ago when he wasn't being featured most of the time. And in the case of Riddle, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of expecting it, but at the same time, I'm still shocked as to, oh shit, they actually did it. But yeah, I don't know much about the situation, and if it was very deep in WWE's eyes, then kudos to them. But hey, it kind of sucks when people lose their job. So yeah.
Thanks, man. And I think with the case of the two superstars that you mentioned, like Mr. WrestleDrop is saying, these are people that we used to see on TV weekly. Riddle was busy with McIntyre, and if McIntyre turns heel, which is something that most of the universe is calling for, Riddle would have probably been his first feud. That would have been the most obvious. In the case of Ali, like we're saying on NXT, it almost felt like a rebranding, you know what I mean? Besides that one time he was special guest referee and it made no sense. But other than that, his NXT run has been decent. It's more Ali than we've seen in such a long time.
For sure.
And for the fact that he just got released out of nowhere is crazy. But as the saying goes, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And because of these cuts, the wrestling scene as a whole has some new, fresh, free agents. So where could we possibly see these free agents? We haven't spoken about Dana Brooke, who could fit into any company and do bits. Where are these free agents going to end up? No, Dana Brooke is quality. Dana Brooke is an actual good wrestler. and she'd do well in a women's division that knows how to book their women, of course. But where do we see the free agents going?
Look, firstly, I really enjoyed your joke about Dana Brooke, comedy gold. But Dolph Ziggler,
decent. We made a video about how decent she actually is.
Yeah, she's alright, but then when you actually,
Damn,
I thought she was. Nah, let me explain. Let me explain myself quickly. I thought she was decent. I thought she was decent because I saw her once every 6 months. The moment I saw her wrestle weekly, I was like, look, she does the same things over and over. Where's that extra something that you said you can show us? But
you want fickle watch, my boy?
This is not fickle. I literally I gave my reason. But calm down, people. Calm down.
I get your point of view.
Calm down.
I get your point of view, but you're on fickle watch.
Shush. You know. Shush, please. Okay. So, if she ends up in Impact, I think she can be alright. I think she can be better than alright. I think she could be somewhat decent. I don't see her as a champion, though. I don't see her as Impact Knockouts champion. Like, Deonna Purrazzo, Mickie James, Trinity, Dana Brooke. One of them doesn't match the rest.
The outlier, basically.
Exactly. So I think she can be damn good in a place like Impact, but she's alright.
Because you haven't seen enough of her, like you're saying. She could surprise you.
No, I said I saw too much of her in NXT. That's what I said.
Yeah, but before that, you hadn't seen much of her.
Correct.
Anyway, that's fine. But let's talk about people who are guaranteed to step into a place and tear the house down. Let's talk Dolph Ziggler.
Yes.
Let's talk someone reliable, someone who no disputes can go in the ring. Someone who can work. Where do we see Dolph Ziggler going? Mr. MPKH, what are you thinking?
I'm not so sure what Dolph wants to do, but if it were up to me, I'd say Impact also. But if he doesn't land an Impact, then do something with comedy like he's been talking about all those years. Now, the reason why I say Impact is because...
Can I cut you off quick? Ben was like, it's Impact or it's comedy. Forget about AEW. Forget about AEW. Forget about New Japan. It's Impact or go to comedy. You were like, forget about the rest. Carry on.
Well, yeah. Impact, you can have... I think Ziggler can have decent matches with the likes of Josh Alexander, Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley, Ace Austin, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And then, yeah, that's where I see Dolph Ziggler personally. I think AEW, he'd be lost in the shuffle like quite a lot of guys. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to avoid.
The only thing is,
I actually,
yeah.
Sorry, I'm saying I actually agree with that. I don't see any of the released superstars, including Dolph Ziggler and Riddle, stepping into into AEW and causing a ruckus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'd most probably get lost in the shuffle. Then we see them on ROH, which is also not a bad thing. But if we're speaking released superstars from this year and we're speaking AEW, I think that part has too many ingredients already. And none of them would fit into the AEW structure or system right now. But sorry, you were saying?
The only thing about the AEW side of things that's probably enticing to Dolph is his brothers there. Like, his brother's working in AEW. So who knows what Dolph is thinking? Maybe he wants to work with his brother. I don't think I've ever seen his brother on AEW TV. I don't even know if he's a wrestler. I don't know what he does. I've seen him on the Elite's channel, BTE, more than I've seen him on TV. So I don't know what he does in AEW. I genuinely do not know. Is he a wrestler? Does anyone know?
I didn't even know Dolph Ziggler had a brother. So yeah.
I think his name's Ryan Nemeth or something Nemeth, which obviously Nemeth is their surname. But do you guys know what he does? I'm not trying to hate on the guy. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Sure.
Moving on. But
I'm trying to find out. Yeah.
I'm also trying to find out, but it's not something we can Google right now as we're speaking. We could, but I think just on that point, because wrestling is becoming more and more sentimental. And I think for someone like Dolph Ziggler, who I don't think has 10 or even 7 more years left, I think where Dolph Ziggler goes now, he's going to just prove himself, remind us who he is, and go home. And
Yeah.
then go do comedy like MPKH just said. So, in terms of a sentimental move, if his brother happens to be a wrestler and that door is open, I think he'd want to do that just to close out his career. Then
Yeah.
maybe get a TNT title run. If he's lucky, get an AEW World Championship shot.
Yeah, shot.
And it would be shot, yes.
Shot.
Not the title, no. But I think that would be the closing of the Dolph Ziggler wrestler chapter for him. Because I don't see him going more than 5 years.
Do you
I
know what
think-
would be a personal? I don't know what the phrase is, but something I really want to see from Dolph Ziggler is Dolph Ziggler in the G1 Climax. Now I know you guys don't really watch New Japan, but Dolph Ziggler wrestling every night for however many days against some of the best talents would be amazing. Honestly, that's something which would go great. I don't know if his body could do it because he is on the older side. He's not as young as everyone thinks he is. But
Yeah.
that would be a banger match. I mean, Tanahashi does it, and he's like 75. So I'm sure Dolph Ziggler could do it easily.
With them weak ass knees.
Bro, those knees are made of paper. But anyway, let's go to Mustafa Ali. Where do you guys want to see him?
Before we go to Ali, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I can confirm Ryan Nemeth is a professional wrestler for AEW. So yeah, he does wrestle. So that is an option.
Yeah.
That is an option.
Okay.
So Ali is New Japan for me.
Okay.
And I think Ali is diverse in his wrestling style. Yes, he's a high flyer. If we're going to box him in a category, he's a high flyer.
Yeah.
But I see Ali going with people in the G1, like you say. And yes, you're right. I don't really watch New Japan like that. But I've seen Take, I've seen Tanahashi, I've seen Keshta, I've seen, you know what I mean? I've seen these Japanese superstars, and I'm thinking Ali could have a proper match in New Japan. Not even one. You have 2, 3. Even the American exports who are over that side, he could have a good time in Japan. And he could, like Dolph Ziggler, remind everyone who the F he is, because he is actually very good in the ring.
You know who I
I'm
could
sure.
see Ali kind of molding his career from? I know it's probably like a long shot, but someone like TJP. I forget his name now. I don't know if he's still
Actually.
TJP. Is he still TJP? He might be. Anyway,
Yeah.
he went. Did he go Impact for a while? He might have been Impact for a while.
As
Then he
many-
went
was
New
in-
Japan. And he's
Yeah.
been New Japan Tag Champion several times. I think it was only a junior champion, but several times now. And he's in the best of Super Juniors, which Ali, I mean, would be fantastic in, because he wouldn't make the G1 because he's not a heavyweight. Dolph would barely make the G1, but anyway, best of Super Juniors would be crazy for Ali. And that wasn't a
Yeah.
shot. Why are you guys laughing? You guys think I'm just throwing shots today? Anyway,
Yeah. Not
Um,
me. I was definitely going to talk about Ali in the Super Junior division. Yeah, I would definitely see him there. And also Impact too, where you can put him in the X division and he would just run the show. Simple as that.
Facts.
Give me Mustafa Ali
Actually-
versus Leo Rush, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And there's your X division king.
You can actually build that division around Ali for the
You
next
really could.
couple of years.
face or heel,
'Cause he's
you can go
back.
both. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, finally, let's talk about the man who
Finally.
is seemingly blacklisted by
Sorry.
both companies who have just merged. Let's talk about Riddle. Let's talk about what's next for the original Broski
Yeah.
and what he can do now, because WWE is clearly not an option. I mean, even besides his current release, he's failed numerous wellness policy tests. He's, like you're saying, being kicked out of UFC. So it's kind of tough for him to go back into the TKO structure. Where do we see Riddle going? Because he's another one who still has good wheels on him, and he could really do some madnesses on other
Here's where I
company. So
see
where Riddle go?
Riddle. I see Riddle going down the lane of running the indies and then finding himself in other MMA promotions like Bellator, like the PFL, but running the indies at the same time. So basically doing whatever he wants. So that's what I kind of see him doing, because he's failing these policies in WWE. I don't know how strict Impact is and how strict AW is. Like, let's face it, Tony Khan doesn't give a shit. He's on cocaine himself. So I don't think it really... I think the best place for him will be running the GCW shows, running the Rev Pro shows, running the whatever shows all around the world, finding himself in MMA matches again and just doing his thing. That's what I'm thinking.
MP, what do we say?
Running the indies, I can see it. I can low-key see it happening. But what if he were to wrestle in Noah? What if he were to wrestle in Noah?
Noah would be
If it's
fire for him,
possible.
because Noah has that sort of style. But money, Riddle's on a big pay in WWE, so I think Noah's
That's
quite
true.
limiting.
That is a factor, actually.
Yeah, and I don't think the indies are going to give him a WWE salary either. So
They
I
won't,
think the
but
best
he can pick and choose his shows, and they'll be willing to pay more than what Noah will be able to pay. So if you work 10 shows in a month, but you're working one Noah show a month, what's going to make you more money? You know, the 10 shows that he's going to do. So I think that's why I think that. If not that, AEW is where he's going to end up.
Yeah, I mean, for me, AEW would be the last option.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, Riddle running the indies, because I think Riddle is a character that you can't really box. And I think this is a good time for him, because now he can do whatever the hell he wants, whenever the hell he wants. You know what I mean? So I'm really behind the idea of him just Matt Cardonaing the entire indie scene and making a name for himself. And if he wants to get back into the hexagon, that option is there in MMA, like you're saying, Bellator.
Octagon.
If he wants to be Octagon. If he wants to be tied down, AEW is there, Impact is there. But I think just let him run wild.
Yeah.
Let him run wild.
Well, that's also dangerous, but yeah.
But that's that
man's already running wild. But anyway, the thing is, Riddle was a killer on the indie scene before he went to NXT. Let's not forget that. The man's matches with Gunther, he had matches with everybody before moving to NXT, or Walter back then. So I do think that's something he's familiar with and something he'll go back to. I think definitely at first.
All right, so I've got one more question though, and I know that we're in a time where we're not sure and we don't know what the future holds and all this nonsense. But do we see any more releases coming?
Yes.
Yep.
Do you have names in mind of who could be next on the chopping block?
Don't really want to be predicting people's jobs, but I see a lot of NXT / talent that are being used. Like, for example, I don't even remember what his name is. That big guy that got drafted to Raw and hasn't been used. What was his name? From NXT. See, you guys can't even think of it off the top of your head.
Odyssey Jones or something like that.
Yes, Odyssey Jones. Like, the guy got drafted to Raw. We haven't seen him once.
Got drafted.
He's at Raw, bro. He's a Raw wrestler.
You see, this is what you were talking about.
Point proven.
And I think
taken.
I think the women's division also got a little bit of a, okay, you guys can chill for now. Only Dana Brooke went, and she was technically NXT. I think there's a lot of people sitting there that aren't doing much. Nikki Cross, Johnny Gargano's wife. What's her name again? Damn, that's late. I'm forgetting names. Candice LeRae. Yeah. Shotzi. Shotzi they're doing some stuff with. But I think there's people just sitting there right now, not doing much.
MPKH, any names on the top of the dome?
Let me not say names because, next thing I say a name and then somebody else will pop up and that's a person that I like. So I think I'm just going to stay silent on this one and just say, there's going to be releases coming. and that
Man's
bites
scared
him.
of the future endeavor gods. They're gonna come and strike
Yeah,
him
man.
down.
Bro,
I think that's the one thing we can take away is that nobody is safe. Nobody is safe. Even people you think are safe are not really safe in this new era of TKO. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this Stomp Wrestling video. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a like. If you haven't already, I don't know what you're doing, but subscribe to the Stomp Wrestling channel. We're on the road to 1K subscribers, and we can't do it without your help. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. To the boys, WrestleDrop, MPKH, and myself, the BeanieBoy, it's been Stomp Wrestling, and we're out.
peace.